Hello, welcome to When the Smoke Clears. I am the Recovery Plug. What's happening, man? Hope you guys are doing good today. I know my day is going just fine. Well, check this out, man. Before we get this video podcast started, if you would please join me in a moment of silence, followed by the serenity prayer for the addicts who still suffers, and for those of us who are still bound down to some sort of struggle, man, that keeps us from moving forward in this toxic life that we live in, man. So yeah, if you would, please join me in a moment of silence. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, wisdom to know the difference. All right. Well, now that we got that squared up, man, we'll check this out. Got another little message for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoy it. And we'll just jump right in, right? And check this out. Let me take these glasses off because I can't look cool all the time, right? But check this out, man. Let me get these other glasses on because I can't read anything without these, you know what I mean? So yeah, you know how it is, man. Like in the Buddhist tradition, we call it, everything's of impermanence, man, and so is the eyesight, right? So yeah, nothing lasts forever, man. But check this out. What I wanted to share with you guys today is a practice that you can incorporate into recovery and into just about any part of your life that you want to, if you're trying to do something new, if you're trying to learn something new, whether it's, maybe you're trying to learn a new language, maybe you're trying to learn a new job, maybe you're trying to learn a new way of living, you know what I mean? And maybe you're trying just to move past some adversity, you know what I mean? Some trauma, some mental things, you know what I'm saying? You know, this method is helpful for just about, it's really can intertwine to a lot of things in your daily life, man. That's why I like it, and that's why I practice it. And what I want to do is it's a method that is called Shu-Ha-Ri, and it's a Japanese method that started with it derives from in martial arts. It derives from the samurai sword warriors who used this method to practice, their skill, and it's exactly that. It's a way to practice a skill, and it's a way to change patterns. You know what I mean? And in the world of addiction, that is one of the things that keeps people bound down to this addiction. And it doesn't matter what the addiction is. You know what I mean? It could be a drug addiction, an alcohol addiction, an eating disorder, a shopping addiction, an addiction to porn. It don't matter what it is. An addiction is an addiction. It's a disease. And the good thing about this method is that it can help, eliminate that pattern and change it with a new pattern of a divine and good karmic energetic way. You know what I'm saying? And I like it, man, because it works really well with spirituality, man. You know what I mean? And any type of thing that you want to do, when you involve spirituality and divine energy, man, you'll find that it really illuminates that process into this beautiful thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's really cool. But let me put these on, and we'll kind of get into this to this whole Shu-Ha-Ri thing, right? And let me pull something up here that I had saved on my computer here. And okay, I'm just going to kind of go through a little bit of what I put down here. And this is the concept of Shu-Ha-Ri originates from the Japanese martial arts, and it describes a three-phase path to mastery. And though not originally designed for addiction recovery, its structure offers a powerful metaphor and practical guide for healing and transformation. And that's what I like about that, because ultimately that's what we're doing in the healing process of addiction. Is you're you're transforming yourself to this new being. You know what I'm saying? And that ultimately is what you're doing, because not only are you transforming into this new being, you're transforming yourself in a mental aspect. You're changing the mental thought processes of your everyday living. You know what I mean? So anyway, let's get into this thing a little bit more. And it says, okay, the shu part of it is, it translates to obey or to absorb, right? And the focus here is the structure, the discipline, and trust in the guidance. And what it means in recovery is that this is a phase where you follow a proven recovery path, whether it's a 12-step program, therapy, a spiritual practice, without deviation. You know what I'm saying? And also, some of the actions that one can take while they're doing this is to commit to a recovery framework. You know what I mean? And a recovery framework can be anything from any 12-step program. It could be Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous. It could be Smart Recovery, Dharma Recovery. And myself personally, I've used all of these methods. And also, another action is working closely with mentors and sponsors. And if you need therapists, then you do so. You know what I mean? Everybody's different, and everybody's level of what you need to take action on is going to be a little bit different. And also practicing daily rituals like journaling, meditation, and attending meetings. I personally do all those three, man. And I don't do them just to do them, man. You know what I'm saying? When there's a proven method, that's what you want to gravitate to. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay, and also avoid questioning and or modifying the process too early. You know what I'm saying? In other words, give it some time. Give it some time and do the actions. You know what I mean? Most things, and this is something that has been scientifically proven, that most things take some time, right, to change. These patterns of behavior is like in a 90-day increment. You know what I mean? If you do something for 90 days, man, that it tends to change and rewire that thought process. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that was the shu part of the Shu-Ha-Ri, and now on the ha part is, which ha translates to breaking and innovating, and exploration, personalization, and a deeper understanding. And what it means in recovery is, once stable, you begin to question, adapt, and personalize your recovery tools. You explore what truly resonates with your values and emotional needs. And taking action on that is integrating new modalities. You know what I mean? You can integrate music therapy. You can integrate Buddhist principles, trauma-informed care. You know, like I mentioned, go into some of those 12-step programs. You can go to a local church. I know some of my buddies over there at Celebrate Recovery. That's a Christian-based thing, and they're awesome out that way, man. You know what I mean? And these different groups and these different communities help. You know what I'm saying? And you have to be, like they say in the rooms of the 12-step programs, man. You got to be open-minded, truthful, and willing to the new change, my brothers and sisters. Because if you're not, man, are you going to be in that hamster wheel effect? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, let's get on to this other part here. It says to begin your own rituals, mindful guitar strumming, storytelling, creative expressions is good. And I do all of those things, man. I strum my guitar. I do mindful strumming, meditation on the guitar. I journal on a daily basis. And I also, do the storytellings. Not, sometimes it's just redoing videos. You know what I'm saying? Because ultimately, when you share a story, man, is what we call in the Buddhist practice prajna paramita, man. Sharing stories is sharing your wisdom, and that's what prajna is. Prajna is wisdom, and that's where you get the the know-how. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you get to load up on, like it was talking about, on that on the tools and stuff. And I like to call my thing that I do is my recovery arsenal. And I load up on my recovery arsenal, which is loaded up with many different things that I gather from many different people through the wisdom of other people, man, and the teachings and of different practices, spirituality, you know, of divine nature and that sort of thing, man. And it's all good, you know what I'm saying? And okay, and also engaging in a philosophical inquiry or a spiritual exploration to deepen the meaning. And I believe that is one of the key things that you're going to have to incorporate into this. And it's understanding the spiritual part and the philosophical part, and not only understanding it, but learning it. You know what I'm saying? Learning it, because how can you do something if you don't know how to do it? You know what I'm saying? You have to learn these steps and principles, man, to be able to be efficient in something, right? And you know, I like to use there was this Buddhist teaching that you know was talking about having just the right ingredients for something to work right. You know what I'm saying? And it was the story was based on that, but it was funny because they used this mechanically inclined metaphor, which was really right down my alley. You know what I mean? Because you know I'm by nature I'm a mechanically inclined dude. You know what I'm saying? And you know from my Navy days as a boiler tech, you know, working in the power plant, and then for many years as a business owner in the HVAC and commercial HVAC and boilers is what my business was about. And this really kind of hit home for me, because they were using this concept of, man, when this mechanic goes into this space, he knows just by listening that everything's purring just perfect, man. You know what I'm saying? You got just the right amount of water, the right amount of alkaline, the right amount of fuel. Everything's running great. You know what I'm saying? And that to me is the practice. You know what I'm saying? Because if you put just the right amount of spiritual, you know, wisdom here, philosophical wisdom there, you know what I mean? A little bit of wisdom of practice of someone else who's been there, done that, and it incorporates this just stream, man, of just this flow, this fluidity of just greatness. You know what I'm saying? And I remember as a boiler tech, man, you would get in that space and just you would know by listening if something wasn't running right. Okay, why is this force draft blower screaming his head off? You know what I'm saying? Or one of the fire pumps is down, or you know, there's not the fuel mixture here in this boiler is not right. You know what I mean? You just knew by listening and by the practice. You know what I'm saying? By the practice. And I loved that practice, that you had to pay attention to detail. You had to be present in the here and now and learn every part of this system. You know what I'm saying? Man, did I used to hate that. You know, that was part of my suffering when I was in the boiler room, man. Was that I had to learn how to learn every single valve in this system of many, and you know, you had to draw them out, and then you had to come back to the person in charge, and you know, they'd look at your drawing and say, you missed one, buddy. And they'd rip up your paper and throw it away. Man, would I get pissed. Vincent, you know who I'm talking about. But anyway, yeah, man, but it's cool. You know what I'm saying? Now I can relate. I can relate these spiritual practices to something so simple that you'll find out that, man, you were doing these techniques and these practices, and you didn't even know. You know what I'm saying? How, go figure. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, let me, so I don't go too far off topic here. I'm gonna finish it out with the re part, which is the Shu-Ha, and then the Ri, which is the Ri. And the Ri part translates to transcending and create. It's the mastery, the freedom of contributing. And what it means in recovery is you internalize the principle and now live them fluidly. You're no longer bound by a single method. You embody recovery and share it with others. And as an action, you mentor others or you create content that supports healing. Like doing this video, you know what I'm saying? That's why I do these videos, is to share a message to something that I personally know works. You know what I'm saying? And you develop your own frameworks or teachings based on your experiences. And you practice spiritual and philosophical integration, living your truth with grace. And I love that, man. I really do, man. That to me really, it just coincides with the things that I do in my spiritual journey and in my recovery. You know what I'm saying? And I think that it's just a great thing to share these things with somebody, and because everybody's always in this want and this crave and this looking for this affirmation in life that they always look, as human beings, we want this acknowledgement, right? You know what I mean? And it's good, you know what I'm saying? But it's just one of the ways to live in this world of suffering, in this world of samsara, as we in the Buddhist practice call it. The world of samsara is the world of rebirth and birth and death and sickness and the suffering. You know what I mean? The suffering in the world, and that is the addiction, that is the trauma, that is the depression, that is the suicidal thoughts, that is the PTSDs, that is all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And just when you can use a practice like the Shu-Ha-Ri practice and put it into work and action into your own life, and you'll find that it starts working. You know what I'm saying? And there was this, let me just throw this out there. There's this, in Tokyo, there was these researchers that found out that if you do repeat something 300 to 500 times, at the 300 or 500th time of repeating something, the neurons in the cerebellum start to create these automated patterns. You know, after you do something so many times, it starts creating this automated pattern. And it says by the time you do it, when you start doing it like 1,000 times, of correct action and repetitions, the pattern becomes unconscious, and the skill literally migrates from the conscious mind to the brain's automatic system. But if you change the pattern before the 300th repetition, the pattern never forms, and you remain in the conscious mode, which is slow, tiring, and error prone. And I just found that really, really interesting, because I got some proof on that little scenario there, that little thing that they did. I got this is some researchers from the University of Tokyo somewhere. They did this thing and it came up with those numbers. But one of the things that I know that works because of my personal experiences is in my chanting. And when I chant these things, and I do chanting, and one of the chants that I do is I use these beads right here that I got around my wrist, and these are 108. There's 108 beads in this row of beads here, and I chant each one of those beads every morning and every night 10 times. So that's 108 times 10, that's over 1,000 chants that I do every morning and every night. And it's just part of my ritual, and as I'm doing the chant, I'm not only just chanting, saying the chant, but I'm breathing a technique with this chant. In other words, when I take a breath in through my nose, I'm not taking the breath in through my nose, filling up the top part of my chest cavity. What I'm doing is when I'm breathing that in, I'm filling up the lower part of my body, and it's starting at the navel, which is like 3-4 fingers below your belly button. That's where you're navigating the air to, and that is where you start activating the chakras. And you're doing this. I'm doing this chanting with my back straight. I'm sitting upright in this posture, and I'm doing the breathing techniques. And as I'm breathing in, I hold the breath for like 4 to 6 seconds, and then as I let it out, I don't let it out through my mouth like blowing it out. I let it out through my nose, and then I take another deep breath, and then I start to chant. And every time that I take a deep breath in, when I breathe out, I'm breathing out with the chant, and I chant the Odamikyu, which is Nam Myoho Renge Kyo in the Buddhist tradition, and so I breathe in and then I chant to each beat. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, 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 until the breath runs out. And I repeat the process until I do this whole 108 beads 10 times. You know what I mean? And it's just a pattern that I've incorporated into my meditation practice that has allowed me to really ground down into this process of being in the here and now, and being in this conscious realm where you're no longer really in control, in a sense. You're just allowing your body to take control, and you're doing this thing, and it's just amazing, because at first it was hard, you know what I mean, but I'm down to this to where I can feel the transformation. And not only that, but like it said when they did the study, that you start learning these new things. I'm just going to kind of throw this out here, because I don't read the Tibetan language. I have no idea how to talk Tibetan, but in my mantras, I'm able to do this mantra in the Tibetan language with no problem. You know what I mean? And I because I've been doing it so repetitively, and I'm just going to go through it real quick, just so you can see how fast the words go for someone who doesn't speak Tibetan. You know what I mean? And this is the 100-syllable mantra. This is a Vajrasattva mantra, and it's a mantra that is used to purify the karmic energy of yourself and stuff like that. So anyway, it goes like this. It goes, Om Ben Sar Sato Samaya Manupalaya Ben Sar Sato Teno Pati Chirido Me Vangwa Supokayo Me Vangwa Supokayo Me Vangwa Anurakto Me Vangwa Sarvasidi Me Prayatsa Sarva Karma Sutse Meti Chiri Yankurungu Ahaha Ho Vangwa Sarvatata Gata Ben Sarma Me Mutsi Bensi Vangwa Mahasaya Sato Ha. And that's the whole mantra. And I do this on a repetitive basis. And I don't know how to speak Tibetan, but I learned it through this Shu-Ha-Ri. You know what I mean? So I know that it can be done. You know what I mean? And like I said, if you want to practice a new language, if you want to put in a new working technique, if you want to learn a new instrument, if you want to, whatever it is that you want to change in your life, you can do it through the Shu-Ha-Ri way. And so I just wanted to get that out there today as the message for today, and hopefully that it helps somebody, man, in your spiritual journey, man, in your recovery, and whatever it is that's bounding you down, man. But check this out, man. If you would, please, at this time, give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, shoot me a comment, whatever. You want me to talk about some other thing? Yeah, I'm open to that. And but I do this sharing a message because I want to help, because somebody helped me. You know what I mean? And it's only right for me to repay that. And just know that when you do hit the subscribe button, you're going to help somebody, man. You're going to help out another veteran, another homeless person, another person dealing with PTSDs, childhood traumatic experiences, trauma, depression, anger, grief, suicidal thoughts, all of those things, my friends, because you know what? At one point in my life, I dealt with all of those things, man. And guess what? I know a way out, man. And my way out could be your way out. Anyway, man, until the next time on When the Smoke Clears, I am the Recovery Plug.